yourself when it comes to grading.
Hey, welcome back to GP Outdoors. You folks remember late last summer I had a dump truck full of crusher run. Had it poured in this area and up the driveway, probably about 50 feet, 60 feet, because I wanted to build out this pad to park my trailers. You may recall I did a little grading with the box blade here, and the one thing I've learned as you try to learn each different implement or attachment for the tractor is, you know, you don't always do a perfect job, but you always know right away if you graded it nicely, because as soon as you drive the truck back up the driveway, you know whether you did a good job or not. And I didn't. I'm not really sure if you can see it in the camera, because I have difficulty seeing it just with the naked eye, but there are slight, what appear to be undulations in my fine grading job I did last summer. And although it looks very, you know, hilly, so to speak, as you see with the tractor or the truck, when I come through this section of the driveway, the truck is banging and bouncing almost like I've got potholes, but I don't. It's not even. I'm not sure if it's settled that way or I just did a bad job, but we got to fix that up today. We've had some rain overnight, which is great when you're doing grading because it keeps the dust down. We do have some rain coming again tonight, possibly this afternoon, so I'm not sure if grading the driveway between rains is a good idea or not. We'll find out. But time is of the essence, and I've got plans for the next few days, so if I don't do it today, it's not going to get done for a while. Jeez. Big old screw in the driveway. That's never good. Happy I found it. Big question is, what did it come off of? And hey, after I try leveling that out again, take two, if the time allows, I'm going to try to maybe do just a refresh on this parking area. Maybe churn it up a little bit and smooth it out. I've got a few dips, etc., but more importantly, the weeds and the grass have kind of had their way with it over the last few years, and I'd like to clean that up a bit. So let's hope the rain holds out. Hope you'll stick around. As you folks know, I'm certainly no expert at grading the driveway, but like you, I bought the tractor so I'd stop having to pay other people to do activities on the property. So you learn as you go, maybe not a perfect job, but saving a little bit of money and learning something new. As I go through it today, you're going to see the highlights of the day because for me, I do this very slowly. I will make probably at least 30 or 40 passes through this driveway. Professional probably wouldn't need that, but for me, I take it in little bits, as you know. If you see the box filling, and I see it filling too much, I'll most likely lift the 3-point slightly to get it up a little bit off the ground, because I'm not trying to dig or move large amounts of gravel to other areas of the driveway. I'm just trying to take what's here and try to get it reasonably flat or smooth. Today I'm going to try something different. In fact, something that a few of you suggested I try. In the past, anytime I've worked on the driveway with the box blade, usually when I start, I drop my scarifiers down so I can dig up a bit. Once I got kind of a couple of inches dug up on the driveway, so I've got some gravel to play with, I'll flip them back up and I'll just use the box. When I'm dragging the box blade, normally I will tilt it slightly forward, just enough that I end up with a 1-inch gap or so on the back blade. That way when I'm pulling gravel through and gravel is churning inside the box, I've got this nice layer of gravel coming out the back consistently. Today I'm going to do what a few of you suggested. I'm going to leave the scarifiers up. I'm not going to use them because I'm just trying to refresh this area and hopefully try to take out some of those bumps, those hidden bumps in the driveway. But what I want to do is I'm going to leave this box flat. So currently you can see the box is tilted backwards. You can see that because the side of the box is up off the ground. I'm just going to adjust the upper link or the control arm so that I level out the box this way as well as this way. And I'll start pulling it. and we'll see what kind of an effect it has on the driveway and if that does the trick for me. And don't forget, folks, whenever you're using a ground engaging implement, whether it's a box blade, a land plane, rototiller, anything that digs or you drag through the dirt or through the ground, you want to make sure that your pins here are sitting in the oblong hole on your stabilizers. You don't want them in a firm hole. The implement needs the ability to move or to be bounced out of the way if it hits an obstruction in the ground. And that gives you that flexibility and allows it to swing. Alright, so that's my first 5 or 6 passes. I just want to take a peek at what's happening to the driveway here. It seems to be coming about really nice. First time I've ever tried to just use that box level and not try to scarify up the first layer. And I think it was the right idea. So thanks to all you folks that suggested it, because what it's doing is it's scraping some off the top, and as it's supposed to do, you can see, hopefully, that those low spots or those little, I won't call them potholes, but they're kind of deep undulations, are slowly getting filled in. So what I'm going to do now is I'm not going to drop the box and float, because that's what I had it in. I just had it all the way down. I'm going to lift it up so it's just kind of hovering across the top, and I'm going to go back and forth a few more times. For those that are interested, I am in low gear. I'm in 4-wheel drive, and I've got the engine RPM all the way up. One thing I'll say about this LX2610, it has a lot more confidence than the old B2601. I can barely feel the box pulling on the back of it. When you're using the box blade, make sure you open this all the way up. What this does, this knob here, as you probably know, is it controls the speed that your 3-point hitch falls to the ground. So when you're dragging it along the driveway and it hits a bump or a rock and it jumps up, you want that all the way open so that the 3-point will fall immediately. It won't slowly fall back down to the ground, because you want the box on the ground as much as possible. So hey, little break in there. Every time I grade the driveway, I'll always get a few folks saying, GP, you need a land plane, not a box blade. And hey, I will not argue with you. I've had a land plane for a while. They are awesome. And if you've got a reasonably established driveway, a gravel driveway, and all you're doing is grooming it every year, land plane is an awesome piece of equipment. But remember, one of the big differences between the box blade and a land plane is that the box blade is designed to carry large amounts of material along the driveway, whereas a land plane only carries small amounts of material. In other words, there's no box on a land plane. When I've got a lot of potholes and ruts and gutters, a land plane dragging it back and forth over this driveway would smooth it right out. It's a beautiful implement. If you can afford both, get both. If you can afford one, for me, because of the other things I've used this box blade for, whether it's in the forest or other things, I prefer the box blade. I'd love to have the land plane too, but I don't do that much grading. But it is a beautiful implement for a driveway like this, just dragging it back and forth to groom it up and make it look pretty every year, fill in some potholes and some ruts from the rain. It's a great implement. If you are buying a land plane or you're looking for a land plane or a box blade, I'll give you a few of my thoughts, not that I'm an expert, but here's what I'd ask you to look for. Scarifiers. Make sure you get 1 scarifier per foot. This is a 5-foot box. I have 5 scarifiers. With the scarifiers, there's different brands out there that will sometimes come with almost what you might call kind of a clip that goes in the top to hold the scarifier in. I prefer to get pins and R pins. Nice, robust mounting. Remember, you're dragging this thing through the ground, and I'm not a big fan of the clips. Cutting edges, you want a reversible cutting edge on the inside as well as on the back. You'll notice that I push backwards a lot, and I do that because it helps to smooth out as I'm trying to do my finishing touches. After I've done most of the work and I want to start leveling it, I'll often lift a little bit and I push with the back blade. Both the inside and this back blade here, they're both reversible as well, so you get a little more longer life out of it. Gussets welded into the corners for extra strength and durability. Brackets for your lower control arms, not pins sticking out the side. It's pretty difficult with a heavy implement to try to wrap your lower control arms around a pin. Much easier to back into it, lift your control arms in, slide your pin in. And lastly, weight. This unit weighs about 450 pounds, and I think it's important. The heavier it is, that in my mind means there's a lot more steel or a lot more stability to that implement. So we're done. Didn't take too long, probably 12-15 passes tops, just taking my time. It turned out reasonably good. As I look down the driveway, I can see that there are some flat spots. It's not linear, so to speak, but there's certainly no more ruts or deep undulations, so that's good. One unintended consequence of today's activity is that I shaved a bit of the crown out of the middle of this driveway. Hopefully I caught it for you folks when I had the camera in on the box itself, but you will notice in some shots as I was pulling it along, one side of the box was filling with gravel or starting to gather gravel, and the other side was empty. That's because it was into the middle of the driveway, and I think it was starting to shave off some of that crown I created a couple of years ago. So I think hopefully before the fall rainy season, I'll probably take my rear blade again, recreate the gutters that I had done a couple of years back because it worked really well. I'll pull that gravel back into the middle of the driveway and then try to smooth it back out and recreate that crown because it's worked really well over the last few years. All the rain, as you know, comes from the north, down through the forest, down this slope towards the lake. So this has really held up well. So hey, let's see if we can pretty up the parking area. think it turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy. Didn't want to get any closer to the side of the house. Well, that's a wrap for today. Thanks so much for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed it. As I said to you folks, if you're new to box blades, I'm not an expert at it. I've just been learning as I go. You probably noticed that I back up a lot. And the reason why I do that is I use the blade on the back of it to try to smooth out or to do my final grooming, so to speak. As you saw, I just lifted a tiny bit off the ground each time. I just want to shave off high points and fill in low spots. And it usually comes out, as it did today, pretty nice. One great suggestion I got from you good folks a while back, and I do it every time now, once I'm done with the box blade and I've graded out the driveway or smoothed it out, I grab the pickup truck and I just keep driving over it to help pack it down, especially before a rain. Very helpful to help it pack. Have a great week with your families. Please be kind to each other. I'll see you again right here. I'm Gord Potter, and you've been watching GP Outdoors. Cheers.